Not even close to our 5,000-ounce gold. Klondike legend Tony Beets. So, we're kind of nice to see where all that water went. Tony is heading to Indian River to check out the state of his claim. Tony Beets, the man once seen as a symbol of strength and endurance, suddenly became the center of a storm of rumors. From a multi-million-dollar gold empire, Tony Beets was unexpectedly named in a serious environmental violation case, shaking the entire Yukon mining world. I always did like the physical part of the job. But hey, I'm actually bonding with them kids. But what is the truth? Let's delve into the story of the King of Klondike to uncover what lies behind the rumor. The story begins with a scene filmed for the show Gold Rush. At that time, Tony and his team were mining at the Tamarack site. During a break, he suddenly performed an action that later shocked the entire film crew. He poured fuel onto the water surface and ignited it. While he waits for the pond to drain, Tony gives the dredge a Viking baptism to change its luck. After the episode aired, Yukon authorities began to pay attention. An investigation team was formed to verify whether Tony's action violated the Yukon Waters Act, the law protecting water sources, or not. The conclusion was surprising. Tony Beets was accused of improper waste handling and failing to report to the authorities. I told you guys come hell on high water, didn't I? The amount recorded in the sentence was only a few liters of gasoline, but the media impact was 1,000 times greater. A television star, a legendary miner, was now labeled an environmental offender. The court ruled that Tony Beets and Tamarack Company would pay a total of $31,000 Canadian, with Tony paying $6,000 and the company $25,000. The penalty was not heavy, but what drew public attention was his reaction. Tony did not apologize, did not justify, and did not avoid the issue. He said briefly, on camera, "Anyone who works for real makes mistakes." The statement was both an acknowledgement and a declaration of defiance. That arrogant silence divided public opinion. Some saw him as irresponsible, while others regarded it as the classic Beet style. Straightforward, rough, and fearless. Those working on the Gold Rush crew recounted that Tony continued to appear at the mine, working as if nothing had happened. The film crew became much more cautious. They limited filming of scenes involving fuel and especially avoided any actions that could be interpreted as polluting. This change shows that the consequences of a moment of recklessness can shake a billion-dollar television brand. Although no one confirmed he was arrested, viewers began to wonder, was Tony Beets being temporarily banned from the air? While rumors spread publicly, a different wave arose within the Beets family. The eldest son, Kevin Beets, who'd been expected to inherit his father's role, began to separate from the mining team. Kevin wanted to manage in a modern, transparent, and lower-risk way. Tony, on the other hand, relied on instinct, experience, and the authority of the leader. Father and son clashed fiercely over mine management. An internal source revealed that Kevin left after a major argument right at the filming site. From then on, Tony was left with only Mike, his second son, to continue alongside him in mining projects. We've been waiting 2 years for that right now, so we're just kind of fingers crossed hoping that that comes through. Anyway, at least Mike is going. The nugget cut is producing, making some money. Not only within the family, Tony was also caught in another silent battle. This time with Parker Schnabel, a younger renowned figure in Gold Rush. They had collaborated before, but when profits and mining rights overlapped, conflicts erupted. Parker once revealed in an interview that Tony demanded too much in the percentage of extraction. Although both later remained silent, viewers understood behind the smiles on television. Gold Rush is a world where interests outweigh loyalty. All these factors, the penalty, rumors, internal conflicts, professional disputes, combined into a chaotic picture. Tony Beets was both a victim of his own personality and a product of a television industry that thrives on drama. The less he spoke, the more he was painted as a mysterious figure. Some believed he had been imprisoned. Others said he withdrew due to illness. No one was certain, only that if Tony truly disappeared, Gold Rush would no longer be Gold Rush. Notably, Discovery, the producer of Gold Rush, did not clearly disclose Tony's status after the case. They only briefly announced that he was temporarily taking a break to deal with personal matters. This ambiguous wording made the rumors even more credible. In fan communities, posts titled "The End of Tony Beets" always attracted tens of thousands of comments. Some expressed regret, some mocked, but all agreed that if Tony truly left Gold Rush, the show would never be the same. Amid the storm, his wife, Minnie Beets, spoke out for the first time in a while. She said briefly, "Tony is fine. He doesn't need to prove anything." That seemingly simple statement opened up countless interpretations. Fine meant free, or did it mean enduring? Fans speculated, commented, and turned Tony Beets into a symbol of a paradox. The less information, the more famous he became. From this shocking case, not only Tony Beets' reputation, but also his life began to take a different direction. A place where every success must be paid with an equivalent price. He brought classic mining back to the modern day, combining old machinery with field experience. This approach cut costs and honored the mining history of the Klondike, a place that drew tens of thousands of prospectors more than a century ago. Not only a skilled worker, Tony was also a shrewd manager. He turned his family into a complete operating unit. Minnie handled finance and contracts. Kevin oversaw engineering. Mike supervised extraction. And Monica, the youngest daughter, operated machinery. On screen, they often argued fiercely. But this minor family model won viewers' affection. They were not actors, but real people, real work, and real conflict. Tony Beets' golden era lasted many seasons. Some years, his team mined thousands of ounces of gold worth millions of dollars. For those living in this frigid land, that figure was a lifelong dream. Tony became proof of Yukon's work philosophy. There's no luck, only sweat. Episodes centered on him consistently drew high viewership, especially in seasons when he directly faced rival crews. What set Tony apart from other miners was his life philosophy. He did not believe in long-term plans or complicated strategies. For him, success was simply giving everything today to earn a chance to continue tomorrow. He once said, "I don't dream, I work. If there is gold, I find it. If not, I dig deeper." That mindset made some see him as reckless, and it also forged the Beets legend, "A man who never backs down." Television brought Tony to an influence few miners ever reach. For him, the camera lights did not matter. He rarely joined promotional events, did not open social media accounts, did not try to build an image. Tony Beets was himself rough, loud, sometimes difficult, but real. Perhaps that is why even after more than 15 seasons, he remained the name viewers awaited. Thanks to television, Tony had the chance to pass experience to a new generation. Many young people in Yukon said they chose mining after watching Gold Rush. To them, Tony was not only a gold miner, but also a symbol of persistence. He proved that if one dares to face the earth, ice and harsh weather, anyone can write their own fate. Every success carries a price. Tony Beets' life was never easy. After decades working among mud and rock, he carried many old injuries and fading health. Whenever asked about retirement, Tony simply laughed. "I will stop when the ground has no more gold." For him, mining was not just a job, but a way of life, the thing that kept him going through long winters and raging blizzards. For Tony, gold did not lie in the ground. It lay in each time he stood up after failure. That is what made him a living legend of the Klondike, the man who does not yield. The giant dredge lay silent for 70 years before Tony Beets brought it back to life. More than a project, it became a symbol of perseverance, the true gold he had always sought. Beyond mining, Tony left a strong mark on the Yukon community. He was among the few mine owners who hired local workers, trained them in safety, and provided support during the harsh winters. Formerly, he was not just a boss, but a source of livelihood and motivation. Though gruff, most of his crew described him as fair. He might shout during shifts. He was the first to buy coffee at day's end and say, "Tomorrow we do better than today." Tony's legacy extended to inspiring the young. Through Gold Rush, many in their 20s and 30s came to see mining as a test of courage rather than an outdated trade. Some even studied mining engineering after following his journey. He turned the miner's image from drudgery to determination. When the drama over his verdict and life sentence rumors spread, many assumed his career was finished. Instead, he returned stronger. In later seasons, his crew mined thousands of ounces of gold, a quiet rebuttal to every doubt. At 65, While most peers retired, Tony still drove excavators himself, overseeing every meter of ground and every stream of water. For loyal fans, he remained the last realman of Gold Rush. In one episode, when asked why he kept working, Tony said, "I don't know anything else. This is my life." That simple line defined him. Mining was not only work, it was instinct, breath, and identity. History also revealed the limits of success. The Yukon Waters Act violation proved that achievement carries responsibility. Even a few liters of spilled fuel could scar a reputation. Tony later admitted, "I have no regrets, but I learned my lesson." He did not deny fault. He accepted it as part of life. Episodes about Tony always ranked among the most watched. The Vikings' return million-dollar season and Beets family values showed him and his crew fighting the cold repairing machines at night and watching rivers cut through frozen ground. In those scenes, Tony became more than a character. He represented a way of life that refuses to yield. Today, Tony still works his claims at 65. His wife, Minnie, manages finances and their children take turns running operations. After all the conflict, the Beets family remains united by one belief. Only labor preserves honor. That constancy earned respect even from former critics. To outsiders, Tony Beets stands between two poles, rebel and hero, violator and pioneer. A symbol of power and a reminder of human limits. His imperfection makes him real. Looking back, few doubt that without Tony, Gold Rush would lose its soul. Tony never called himself a legend, the audience did. He proved that success comes not from luck, but from endurance and accountability. Amid endless rumors and blurred truths, he stayed true to his words. Gold mining is a gamble with the earth, but life is a gamble too. As the old generation of miners fades, Tony remains guarding the flame of his craft, a light that neither age nor scandal can extinguish. For millions of viewers, he is more than a television figure. He is proof of the human will against nature. That perhaps is the real gold Tony Beets found after a lifetime. If you want to continue exploring the stories of people who dare face the elements to find their fate, subscribe to the channel today. The next videos will take you deeper into the world of Gold Rush, where Tony Beets and other legends are still riding their unyielding journey across the icy lands of the Klondike.